one-eyed Mike. He's such a good boy. Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Robynberd and I'm Robin. And this is Ike. This is a whole video dedicated to his journey with how he developed glaucoma this year in 2022, and basically the steps and things that we've done to just basically get him back to good health. It was really out of left field. He developed glaucoma just because it's something to do with his genetics. It's nothing I could have done or honestly prevented. So yeah, it's just basically a journey on getting him healthy again. A little bit of background before we jump into the story is he is a terrier miniature poodle mix, I was told. I saw his pack mates and they had like curly hair or either straight hair like him. And so really it was just, who knew, honestly. He is currently 5 years old. I got him in Vegas off Craigslist. And so we've been best friends ever since. Yeah, it was really heartbreaking to see him go through that this year. It was about a 4-month-long process. And so now we're about like 3-4 days out of his stitches getting removed and he's just healing up really nice. But yeah, let's get into it. Basically, what had happened was around early January, I was still living in Oregon and he had started to develop a cataract in his right eye. It just slowly started fogging over and just turning wider and wider and wider, and until eventually, you know, he was just fully blind in his right eye. He couldn't see anymore. I had taken him to vets and his veterinarian had told me that, you know, he needs to be referred to an ophthalmologist for a dog, which is a specialty doctor, and that's where it does get a bit pricey. And those are really truly the only people who can diagnose what's going on with your pet. My vet had basically just prescribed him a little bit of, I think it was like neomycin eye drops, and from there that was all they could do because they didn't have the proper equipment to diagnose him. Jumping forward a bit, just because for about that month and a half and most of February it was just white, just a white eye. I get to LA and probably within the first like 2 weeks his eye had just turned into a giant bulging cherry, and you know, his pupil was just starting to completely disappear. I didn't take a lot of video footage of that just because that was a really hard time for me to see him like that and worry about him. So I just, you know, that was very hard and personal, but you know, he was at that point on about 6 different types of eye drops and ointments. And so 4 eye drops 3 times a day, just for however long. And then, you know, ointments in both eyes, and you have to wait like 5 to 10 minutes in between eye drops and ointments. So that's a process. So it was a 30-minute process every morning. Had to make sure he got his eye drops in the middle of the day, and then again at night. And so, you know, that was life for about a full month in March, while I was just searching for him to find an optometrist out here, ophthalmologist out here in LA. Once I did find him an ophthalmologist, basically, you know, that's who gave him all those eye drops, but they were trying to price his surgery at about $2,500 at a low end and $2,700 on a high end. And so for me, that's just not very accessible for him. And so it was just a little bit more searching before I could figure out where to take him. You wanna go? You don't wanna stay up here? So I basically kept my search up until I found another animal hospital that did have a specialist on their team, which is like kind of hard to find because usually their practices are pretty separate, and most animal hospitals will only do like emergency surgeries. And technically his wasn't, even though it felt like it. But I ended up going and finding an animal hospital out here in El Segundo, and they were so amazing. They took such good care of him. The appointments were pretty affordable. They did want to do their own blood test again. This is like his 3rd blood test, right? Just to figure out if he was healthy enough for surgery. I just told them that I had already been told that he would need enucleation, which is where they just remove the whole eye, obviously. And so yeah, once I told them that, they just wanted to get his blood again and make sure that he was a good candidate for it, and everything came back clear. Also, when I went to El Segundo instead, their prices were also significantly cheaper, and they also offered dental to Ike. So, you know, usually getting your dog's teeth cleaned is around like $500 because of the anesthesia, and then also, you know, just whatever they're doing on the teeth. But because he would already be under anesthesia, they're like, let's just knock out his teeth as well. So basically it was $250 just to add on his dental work to his surgery, which was really good because he just needed an all-over checkup. And so the price of that with his surgery and the dental, they told me on the low end it was $1,600, and on the high end it was $2,100, and he hit around $1,900 for his surgery in total. So that was a lot more doable and a lot more worth it. And also they were able to get him in so fast. Most vets and, you know, specialists have really long wait lists, which is something they also really, you know, you're not really prepared for when you feel like your pet is going through something kind of hard. So basically the day of Ike's surgery, it was just, you know, he's been really good the whole time with his little cherry eye. Got up and walked him. He had already been off of his eye medication, I think, for about like a day and a half, just because like he'd been running out and it was just time for the eyeball to go. And so, you know, he's fine. He goes sniff things, he go pee wherever he want. He was in a great mood. He was a really good trooper. So took him to El Segundo really early in the morning. I think it was about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock when I dropped him off, and I got to pick him up around 5 p.m. And so when I got him, I immediately burst into tears. It was just the hardest thing to see him so doped up, and also with a new look, you know, like his eye was gone and he just looked like he was in pain and groggy. He was drooling all from his teeth being cleaned and just from like, you know, the trauma of surgery. So it took him about a day to recover, a full day. Early in the morning he was a bit shaky. He did end up eating a little bit that night, just a little handful of chicken, but by the next day he was eating a full meal. So, you know, right back to how he used to be. So the only medication they had given me for Ike 2 was just like some pain medication that he was supposed to take for 7 days, and then also some inflammation medication for the same amount of time. And once those were done, he was finally off the meds and off of anything that would be like an eye drop and whatnot. So I was just happy that he didn't have to be extra cared for through that time, so that he could just go back to playing again. And Ike was playing really well by like day 4. So he got his energy back. He wasn't scared that he would get hit in his eyeball and I'd have to hear him yelp. Coco was also being really gentle with him. Yes, you were. His spirits were up. He was just doing so much better. You know, he's not a yappy dog, but he will bark when it's playtime. He just won't shut up. And I was glad to see that he was just getting really right back to himself. Basically over the course of 2 weeks, he got his stitches out within 14 days. And he was looking really good until he was just like really back to his old self, full of energy, and he loves the beach. So I'm really glad that he was able to go back to the beach like immediately after his stitches were out. And now he's just basically on his healing journey. So that is just a little bit of what the journey it looks like is if your dog is possibly suffering from glaucoma. At first I was told by vets that it was just a cataract and it wouldn't get any worse, but the way that it rapidly spread was just, you know, really unsettling, and, you know, just come to find out the eye had to go. So, you know, he looks really good now with his little eyeball. You know, we called him One-Eye Mike, we called him Glaucoma Mike, Fetty Ike. He just has a lot of nicknames now. I don't know if they're all the best, but also at one of the veterinarians, the ophthalmologist had recommended some supplements to give to Ike and also to switch up his diet a bit. Every once in a while I give Ike just like whole foods like peas. He has rice, chicken, eggs, sweet potatoes, shit, like all sorts of just like greens that we can think of to give him, broccoli. And he really enjoys people food, obviously. So another thing that we added into his daily routine is this optimal vision support. It's called OcuGlow. It's a vision supplement that the optometrist recommended, and he seems to like them. They stink. They smell so holistic. Like, if that's any description of what they smell like, it is. That's one thing we give him. And then also on top of it, I was giving him these throughout his whole entire ordeal with the eye drops before he got surgery, and my boy loves some CBD. Like, they eat these things up real fast. You want to come over here now? Come here, Ike. And then the last supplemental thing we do just to keep his teeth up to par. I brush his teeth now probably like every other day, 3 days max, because I know I need to do it. We also give him these dental bones. Was it Dentalife? And they seem to like them. You know, Coco likes to chew up anything, so she enjoys them. But Ike, he's not much of a chewer unless it definitely has like a flavor to it. But he likes these. Doesn't like the little greenies, won't eat them. And I just really wanted to share what he was going through. And honestly, it is really heavy and it was really hard to watch and to deal with. Makes you sad when your babies get sick, but also like having a small change in his face. I mean, I don't think he's disabled. He's been blind in one eye for a while. But you know, between my sibling having a one-legged dog and me having a dog with one eye, I just feel like he fits right in the family even more. It's a journey growing with your pets, and I hope that maybe this video could help somebody understand what they're going through. I know the videos I watched on YouTube made me feel a lot better. Just understand that when dogs go blind or even possibly deaf, that they can adjust really, really well. Like, their quality of life does not just go down just because they can't see as well anymore. And I hope Ike is a good example of that. These are my babies, these are my pets, and I hope this video helps someone. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.